There's a decision you've been avoiding. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. It's been sitting in the back of your mind for weeks, maybe months, maybe years, and every single day you tell yourself the same lie. I just need more time. I just need more information. I just need to be sure. Let me tell you something that's going to hurt. You're not being careful. You're not being responsible. You're not being smart. You're scared. And that fear is eating your life one day at a time while you sit there pretending you're thinking it through. This is the certainty trap. And it's the single biggest reason people stay stuck in jobs they hate, relationships that are dead, and lives that feel like slow suffocation. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why you can't make decisions. You're going to learn the framework that separates people who build extraordinary lives from people who just think about it. And you're going to make a choice today that you've been putting off for way too long. No more waiting, no more excuses. Let's go. Here's what most people don't understand about decision making. There are two completely different problems that feel exactly the same. The first is decision paralysis, too many options, overwhelmed by choices, can't pick a direction because there are 15 directions and they all seem reasonable. That's not your problem. Your problem is the second one, waiting for certainty. You already know what you want to do. You've known for a while, but you won't do it because you're not 100% sure it's the right move. So you wait, you analyze, you make pros and cons lists, you ask friends for advice you're not going to take. You read articles, you watch videos like this one, and you tell yourself you're being thorough. But here's the truth. You're not gathering information. You're gathering excuses. Every day you spend thinking about it is another day you don't have to face the fear of being wrong. Another day you get to stay comfortable. Another day the decision makes itself by default. Because here's what nobody tells you. Not deciding is a decision. It's a decision to stay exactly where you are. And you're making that decision every single day you wait for certainty that will never come. Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs, and one of them is certainty. The need to feel safe, the need to know what's coming, the need to avoid pain and find comfort. Certainty isn't bad. You need it to function. But here's the problem. Certainty is addictive. And like any addiction, the more you feed it, the more it controls you. You start needing 90% certainty to make a move, then 95, then 99. Then you're 43 years old wondering what happened to your 20s and 30s while you were figuring things out. I had a friend, let's call him Mike. Mike had a job he hated. Toxic boss, no growth, paid below market. He knew he needed to leave. He told me he was going to quit in 2019. He finally left in 2023. 4 years, 4 years of Sunday night dread, 4 years of waking up and feeling his soul leave his body before he even got to the office, 4 years of telling himself he just needed to be sure. You know what finally made him leave? They laid him off. He didn't make the decision was made for him. And you know what he said to me after? I should have left 3 years ago. I knew it the whole time. I was just scared. 3 years of his life, gone. Not because he failed at something, not because he tried and it didn't work, because he waited for certainty that never came. That's the real cost, not the risk of being wrong, the guarantee of wasted time. So let me give you a framework that changed everything for me. Ask yourself this question right now. What percentage certain do I need to be before I'll act? Be honest. Pick a number. Most people say 90%. Some say 95. A few say 100. I need to be absolutely sure. Now, let me tell you what the research shows about successful people. Entrepreneurs who built companies, leaders who changed industries, people who actually did things instead of just thinking about doing things, they act at 60 to 70% certainty. Let that sink in. The people you admire, the people who seem like they have it figured out, they're not more certain than you. They're not smarter than you. They don't have better information. They just have a lower threshold for action. They understand something you don't. The final 30% of certainty can only be learned by doing. You cannot think your way to certainty. You can only act your way there. This is the 80% rule, and it will change your life if you let it. If you're 80% sure something is the right move, you have enough information to act, period. The remaining 20% is not available to you. It doesn't exist in the realm of thinking. It only exists in the realm of doing. You will never know if the relationship is right until you're in it. You will never know if the business will work until you launch it. You will never know if moving to that city was smart until you live there. The certainty you're waiting for is on the other side of action, not before it. And here's the part that should terrify you. Every single day you don't decide is a decision to stay where you are. You're not in a holding pattern. You're not pressing pause. Time doesn't stop while you figure things out. You're actively choosing your current situation every single day. That job you hate, you're choosing it. That relationship that's going nowhere, you're choosing it. That city you've been wanting to leave, you're choosing it. By not deciding, you are deciding. And the decision is always the same, more of what you already have. Certainty addiction is slow death by comfort. It doesn't feel like you're dying because nothing dramatic is happening. You're not failing publicly, you're not getting rejected, you're not losing money. You're just staying still. And that stillness feels safe, it feels responsible, it feels smart. But it's killing your potential one day at a time. It's letting your dreams die, not with a bang, but with an endless series of maybes and somedays and when I'm ready. The what ifs are not protecting you. The what ifs are destroying you. What if it doesn't work out? What if I'm wrong? What if I fail? What if people judge me? You know what question you never ask? What if I waste the next 5 years waiting? That's the real what if. That's the one you should be terrified of. Because that one comes true every single time you choose certainty over action. So let me give you 3 tests, 3 tools, 3 ways to break out of this trap today. Test number 1, the worst case scenario test. Take the decision you've been avoiding, the one you thought of at the beginning of this video. Write down the absolute worst thing that could happen if you're wrong. Not the vague fear, the actual worst case. In specific detail, I could lose money. Okay, how much money? Can you make it back? How long would it take? I could fail publicly? Okay, who would see? How long would they remember? Would anyone actually care in 6 months? People would judge me. Which people? For how long? Does their opinion actually affect your daily life? Here's what happens 90% of the time. When you write down the worst case in concrete terms, it's not that bad. The fear is always worse than the reality. Your brain inflates the risk because it wants you to stay safe. But when you force specificity, the monster shrinks. The worst case is almost never as catastrophic as the vague anxiety makes it feel. And here's the kicker. Even if the worst case happens, you survive. You adapt. You figure it out. Because that's what humans do. The worst case is rarely permanent. But the time you waste waiting, that's gone forever. Test number 2, the regret test. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Actually do this. Fast forward 10 years. You're 10 years older than you are right now. You're sitting somewhere. Maybe it's your living room. Maybe it's a coffee shop. Maybe it's the same room you're in right now because nothing changed. And you're looking back at this moment, this decision, this crossroads. In one scenario, you took the leap. Maybe it worked out. Maybe it didn't. But you tried. You know the answer. You have closure. In the other scenario, you waited. You're still in the same place. Still wondering. Still telling yourself you'll do it someday. But someday never came. Which regret is worse? Trying and failing, or never trying at all? I have never met a person who regretted trying. I have met hundreds who regret waiting. The sting of failure fades. The weight of what if I had just tried never does. Use this. When you're stuck, project yourself forward. Ask which version of you that you want to be, then work backward from there. Test number 3, the 30-day rule. This one is simple but brutal. If you have been thinking about a decision for more than 30 days, you have enough information. I'm going to say that again. If you have been thinking about a decision for more than 30 days, you already have enough information to make the call. You're not still thinking because you need more data. You're still thinking because thinking is easier than doing. The analysis is a delay tactic. The research is procrastination wearing a responsible costume. 30 days is enough. It's more than enough. Most good decisions are made faster than that. So here's the rule. If it's been more than 30 days, you make the decision today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Write it down. I have decided to blank, sign it, date it. Then give yourself 7 days to execute. 1 week to take the first real action. Not think about action. Take action. The waiting has already cost you more than the wrong choice ever could. Let me tell you something about certainty. It's comfortable. It feels responsible. It looks like wisdom. But certainty is expensive, and most people never see the bill until it's too late. Certainty costs you years. It costs you opportunities. It costs you the life you actually want. While you're waiting to be sure, someone less qualified than you is taking the job you wanted. Someone with fewer resources is starting the business you've been planning. Someone who knows less than you is living the life you've been dreaming about. The difference isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't information. They decided to move at 70% while you're still waiting for 100. And here's the truth you need to hear. 100% certainty doesn't exist. It never did. It never will. Every choice is a gamble. Every path has unknowns. Every decision could be wrong. The people who win aren't the ones who eliminate risk. They're the ones who act despite it. They feel the fear. They see the uncertainty. And they move anyway. Not because they're braver than you, but because they understand something you're just now learning. The only certainty in life is that waiting will cost you everything. So here's your challenge. Right now, pick one decision you've been avoiding. You know which one. You've known the whole time. Write it down. Be specific. Now write down what percentage certain you are that it's the right move. Be honest. If you're above 60%, you're ready. You don't need more information. You don't need more time. You don't need more advice. You need to decide. Make the call. Write it down. Commit to it before this video ends. Then take one action in the next 24 hours. Not a big action, just something real. Something that puts you on the path. Send the email, make the call, submit the application, have the conversation, book the ticket. Something that tells the universe you've decided. Because that's all the certainty you're ever going to get. The certainty that you chose. The certainty that you moved. The certainty that you stopped waiting for a guarantee that was never coming. The life you want is on the other side of the decision you're scared to make. So make it. Make it today. Make it scared. Make it uncertain. Make it anyway. Because 10 years from now, you won't remember the fear. You won't remember the doubt. You won't remember why it felt so hard. You'll only remember whether you did it or not. Choose the version of you that did. I'll see you in the next one.